video we're going to be looking at the Christian Standard Bible, Pastor's Bible. This one is in brown genuine leather. We'll be going through this Bible at the beginning of this video, and then the second part of the video, I actually want to compare this to something very similar, but a little bit smaller size. It's the CSB single column personal size Bible. It's really interesting because the Pastor's Bible is a little bit larger version of this, which we'll see. Really similar though. And also this has some extra features that are designed for pastors. So the Pastor's Bible comes in a two-piece box. Very decorative, nice looking. The genuine leather version that we're looking at here retails for $99.99. You can also get a leather soft version, an imitation leather cover version that would be less expensive. But the back of the box does give you information about the Bible, different features. You see that it is Smyth-sewn, single column text. It is a 11-point type, really good size type, which we'll see when we get into the Bible. And that's really important for pastors. If they are preaching from the Bible up front, it is nice to have a larger font, easier to see from the pulpit or wherever they're teaching from. So a lot of people have commented on the genuine leather that Holman has put out in some of their Bibles, especially these earlier Bibles. This is a Bible from a few years ago. And what causes people to comment on it is that it says goatskin leather. Now, their more recent goatskin leather covers are in the handcrafted collection. They're really high quality. This goatskin is of a lower quality, considering that it is goatskin. And some people will even question, is it really goatskin? And I do think it's goatskin. It's just probably not the best quality goatskin, maybe not the top grain of the goatskin, but it is goatskin. And they're not really advertising it as being a premium product. The box actually just says genuine leather. And I think in most of the marketing it says genuine leather, but the specific kind of leather is a goatskin leather, just not the highest quality goatskin. That being said, it is genuine leather, and it has a great look to it. It is perimeter stitched. I like the spine with the raised hubs, not overly busy look to the spine. And the Pastor's Bible does come with 3 angle cut ribbons, black, brown, and red. I do notice that this red one is longer than the other 2 ribbons. So some quality control here. The page edges are gold gilt page edges. Head and tail bands are brown. When you get inside here, you see it is a paste down liner, but it is not a paper, it's more of a vinyl material. So I think that's really good. Looks like it has some reinforcement tape there, so that adds extra durability. You have a presentation page on matte cardstock, title page, then the publisher title page, copyright information, and here you see the ISBN information for the other cover, the black LeatherTouch, and then we're looking here at the brown genuine leather. This is actually the second printing from 2018. So this is one of the earlier editions of the updated CSB, which was originally the Holman Christian Standard Bible, but in 2017 it was updated to be the Christian Standard Bible. Here's the table of contents. And you can see here there's a lot of additional material designed for pastors in the back, as well as a little bit in the middle of the Bible, which we'll see. And then we have the introduction to the Christian Standard Bible translation, Old Testament title page. This was designed by 2K Denmark. It has a great look to it, very similar to the Holman Handcrafted Collection single column wide margin Bible. A lot of similarities in terms of the formatting and size of the pages, but this is definitely not a Holman handcrafted collection quality Bible. So it is retailing this leather cover for close to $100. I would advise looking to get it on sale, honestly. Or if you don't want to spend as much, you could also get the LeatherTouch edition. But to me, the quality compared to other $100 Bibles that are out there right now is not quite as up there. So if you get this on sale, though, I still think it's a really usable and well-designed Bible in many ways. So as you see here, it is single column paragraph format. That 11-point font is very easy to read. Looks like it's line matched. You have the translator notes on the bottom of the page. You do have some nice margin space. So really, actually a great reading Bible. You could read through the Bible very comfortably with a format like this. Now, some people might not like how long these lines are. They may feel that the lines are a little bit too long. It might be hard to find your place from this end of the page back to this end. That might be one downside of having such a large page. But as far as the size of the font, that is really nice. So it's just a nice, large, single column Bible. The CSB translation has a lot of great qualities to it. After the book of Psalms, which you can see here, the poetry being in single column format looks really nice. You get a lot of the full lines of poetry on one line. So that's really good. Kind of see what the ghosting is like here in the poetry. And yeah, there is some show through. Pages are pretty thin. That's something I've noticed. They do kind of noticeably feel thin, but still it seems, considering how thin the pages are, that the ghosting isn't too bad. But after the book of Psalms, you get into some of the pastoral materials that are in the middle of the Bible. And these are set in the middle of the Bible so they're accessible, so that you could actually use them during a service. So we have the classical wedding ceremony, a contemporary wedding ceremony, funeral preparation, and then a funeral sermon. And they actually have various funeral sermons, funeral for a child, for a student. So even if you don't use these verbatim, it's still good for reference. Here's one for a suicide victim. So weddings, funerals, and then you get into the rest of the biblical text. So between Psalms and Proverbs is where you have those services. And then we'll go through the rest of the Old Testament here. And the New Testament has a title page. Here's the book of Matthew. And you'll see that this is a black letter text for the words of Christ. So again, that's probably better to a lot of people to have a black letter text if you're preaching. Just having the consistent printing there, that's, you know that it's not going to be hard to read. Red letters sometimes can be hard to read. You do also have the typical features of the CSB. The Old Testament quotes that are in the New Testament are in this bold font, so very easy to find. And they do note the references in a footnote, what it's referring to in the Old Testament. At the end of the Bible, you're also going to see some other helps for pastors, for pastoral ministry. So here's a section, Where to Turn, which they do actually have in other Bibles, but this one has the title Pastoral Care, with some different passages you can turn to on different subjects. Then you get into articles by various authors. So here's one here, A Brief Biblical Theology of Leadership, 8 Traits of Effective Church Leaders, Pastor, Find Your Identity in Christ. Here's one by Charles Spurgeon, Glorifying God in Your Ministry. what is biblical preaching, and so on and so forth. So a lot of good articles that will encourage, edify, and help those who are in pastoral ministry. So you get those helps at the end of the Bible, and then it does also have here an article on being a student pastor, sharing the gospel with children. So this could also be used for people who are doing young people's ministry as well. Here's a list of contributors in the back. And then you have the CSB Concordance. After the Concordance, you have a couple of sheets of blank paper, just regular Bible paper, and then the maps on cardstock. And one of the nice things I'm noticing in this Bible are these margin spaces. So even in the map section, if you do like to write around your maps, you have space for that. So you could see this actually in many ways would be something very useful for those who are in ministry, whether you're a pastor or just someone else who's involved in ministry. But as I said, I wanted to compare this to its smaller counterpart, which is the single column personal size Bible. And you're going to see these are very similar. This one that I'm showing here is also in a genuine leather. You'll notice though that the personal size is just a bit smaller here. So you're probably looking at about an inch, both in height and width, smaller. And then in terms of thickness, they're about the same. Now, in my opinion, I think that the personal size, the paper is a little easier to turn. It has a little bit more of a coarse texture. Pastor's Bible just seems to be smoother paper. But both have very thin paper. The format, as we get inside here, you can see is really the same actually. And the pagination is going to be the same all the way up to the end of the book of Psalms, because you have that extra material in the middle of the Bible. So the beginning of these Bibles is the same pagination, then this one has extra material, and then the page count is going to be different from there, from Proverbs on. But really, in many ways, these are just the same thing, except this one, again, has 11-point font versus 10-point font, and also better margin space. The advantage of the personal size, of course, is that it is very easy to hold. Also, those lines are not quite as wide. Probably a little easier reading experience in that way. But it's just a give and take thing. I think either one is a good option depending on which needs you're trying to fulfill. So really similar. Another difference, though, is that the personal size only has 2 ribbons, a brown and a red ribbon. You don't have the helps in the middle of the Bible, obviously, or at the end of the Bible, but you do still have a where to turn section for those different topics, table of weights and measures, and the CSB Concordance, as well as maps. So if you want something that's a little bit more portable, that's really the same thing as the Pastor's Bible, maybe you want to have both, one for carrying around, one more for your desk and preaching. That's a good option. It's a good companion Bible. So that is the single column personal size with the Pastor's Bible. Overall, I have mixed feelings about the Pastor's Bible. I think it has a lot of great features. It has a nice page design to it. But in terms of the qualities of material, as I said before, I would try to get it on sale if you're going to get the genuine leather version. But another option would be the LeatherTouch, the imitation leather version, if you want to spend less money. Other than that, that's really all I have to say about this Bible. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to see that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for taking a look at this Bible with me from a fresh perspective.